Hey everyone, it's Sundays with Timmy XJW. As you can tell by the title of this video, I want to talk about how I coped with leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses. I made videos on this before, but I wanted to get into something a little different, a little better directional thought process on this. So first off, I want to leave a huge shout out to Judge Me Unforgiven. I've seen your positive comments, your true love and support, just like I've shown you, and it tells me you have good intentions because we went through the same struggle in the Jehovah's Witnesses, so it really means a lot to me, just as much as it means to you, which is why this one goes out to you. So, as I've talked about before, a lot of us are disfellowshipped for a number of reasons. So, it leaves us feeling socially crippled to it. And it's unfortunate that for a lot of us who are excommunicated for a number of reasons, when we encounter people, that's what we talk about. We talk about Jehovah's Witnesses for a reason, because that's all we knew. We lived, a lot of us born and raised or grew up in it, lived a pretty sheltered life. We couldn't have any privileges outside of the Jehovah's Witnesses because of their teachings. Another thing I wanted to get into is their belief and what they believe in. They say they don't rely on too many material things. And a lot of you ex-Jehovah's Witnesses can confirm this. You're not supposed to rely on too many material things except anything that deals with Jehovah's Witnesses. Or any Watchtower, magazine, textbooks, obviously the Bible, all of that. That's all you can rely on. Not supposed to rely on anything else but that. I mean, a lot of it's changed since I've left almost 6 years ago, but that's a whole different thing. And I know a lot of you ex-Jehovah's Witnesses know about who Telltale is. He was a Jehovah's Witness himself at one point growing up most of his life. So he talks about them a lot. That's his main bullet points, is he talks about what it was like being a Jehovah's Witness, and he does research as well, which is why he makes a lot of videos on it. And his most current one was talking about comparing the extremism of disfellowshipping and a lot of different standpoints from Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormonism. So, Telltale, if you're watching this, thank you for talking about it. I mean, we've talked about disfellowshipping before, but I'm going to leave a link of his video in the description below if you want to check it out yourself. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen it. If not, like I said, it's there for you to watch for yourself. The comparison and knowing how disfellowshipping works. Anyway, like I said, Jehovah's Witnesses also believe that they don't want their followers to rely on too many material things. The only thing, again, that they're supposed to rely on is just their Watchtower, Awake, textbooks, and the Bible. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but that's just the basics I want to leave. So, after I left, it's unfortunate more often than not, people that I've encountered either have little to no knowledge at all of how, again, Jehovah's Witnesses work. I got pretty fortunate, like I mentioned in my previous videos. I live with a friend of mine, not my boyfriend, so don't get any ideas. I wanted to say that because there are people who have time on their hands to think I still have a boyfriend or think I have a boyfriend when I don't. He's just a friend of mine, so don't think anything of it. Anyway, now that I got that out of the way again, just wanted to throw that out there. Whatever. What I'm getting at is I got lucky enough that he went to seminary for 3 years. So he knows every single detail, how manipulative the Jehovah's Witnesses are, how they like to shun, how he knows how they like to shun family and friends. So it's pretty easy that I get to talk to him about it. But before that, I could never, even with the person I lived with in Chicago, I could never get two people to understand how bad Jehovah's Witnesses really are, how they treat their ex-members. Because like I've said in my previous videos, a brother or elder will go up to the podium and they'll announce that this person whether it be a brother or sister or both, granted both, regardless, whatever, will announce that they are no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And they'll leave their followers on an edge, so they'll know that they're not allowed to talk to them. They won't explain why they got this fellowship. All they know is that they're just not allowed to talk to them, because that's their teaching. In Mormonism, like I said in Telltale's video, he talks about how at least once or twice a year they can talk to their family. It's not nearly as extreme as a Jehovah's Witnesses, because once a Jehovah's Witness is disfellowshipped in any way, shape, or form, whether it be obviously disfellowshipping, disassociated, or faded away, like myself, you're again instructed to not talk to them. Because again, they're considered mentally diseased or an apostate. Mormonism is still just as bad as Jehovah's Witnesses, just Jehovah's Witnesses happen to be a little more on the extreme scale of it. Again, Telltale has a lot more knowledge of Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, again, I do too. I just like to leave my basics to people who have maybe never come across them. He, again, like I said, leaves a lot of good, valid points and examples of how the Jehovah's Witnesses work. So, again, I'm going to leave his channel and a link in the description below so you can watch for yourself. Like I said, Jehovah's Witnesses are really heavy on disfellowshipping. And a lot of people who have never encountered Jehovah's Witnesses don't realize how bad they really are, how they easily manipulate their followers and their ex-members. They don't take into account, how bad it is, how bad the Jehovah's Witnesses are. So for me, how I cope with it, like I said, I try to express to people what it was like growing up as one, being born and raised in an environment where I was pressured to become something I never wanted to be. Now that I've been out, like I said in my previous videos, I can finally freely express what I went through being a Jehovah's Witness and all that unfortunate bias of what they teach, how they teach their followers, how they mind control their followers. And I want to get into this as well. I've talked about how before Jehovah's Witnesses try to convince an individual enough. That's because they're like a really bad car salesman. They'll go up, an individual or two of Jehovah's Witnesses will go up to the individual's house who, again, like I said, has little to no knowledge of Jehovah's Witnesses. And for the most case, no knowledge at all, really. So if you're an individual who isn't a Jehovah's Witness at all or doesn't know anything about them watching this, do your research. Watch ex-Jehovah's Witness videos. Look up research on sexual and child abuse and physical abuse and all that. There's a lot of stuff out there you can do research on your own and knowing what to expect before you encounter them. So, as I was getting into, a Jehovah's Witness, an individual or multiple, meaning two, will go up to the individual's house, have them convinced enough by playing the victim, and then get them in a vulnerable state if the individual has no knowledge how they work at all in the first place. That's how it unfortunately works. They have a mind control tactic that they use on people who have, yet again, little to no knowledge about them, how they work, how they treat their followers, and ex-members as well on top of it. Like I said, I watched a video on Telltale's video yesterday, the tactics of Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnesses, how extreme in disfellowshipping it works, and just a whole bunch of different levels of it. So, like I said, I'm going to leave a link of his video in the description below, so you can see the comparison, the communication and social skills of extremism, how they are compared to each other. But that's what I wanted to talk about. Like I said, now that I've been out, I don't have to feel guilty knowing I talk about how dangerous this cult is to people, how they don't realize the guilt tripping they do and the manipulating they do. Like I said, another thing Jehovah's Witnesses believe in is anyone that isn't a Jehovah's Witness, even obviously their ex-members, are considered one of Satan's enemy. And the rest of the world is considered Satan's enemy. And they're the only people that obviously think they aren't. When we all know they're false prophets. But whatever. Like I said, I like being able to talk to people that I used to be a Jehovah's Witness only because of my parents. I mean, I was never baptized. I almost got baptized, but that was due to the amount of pressure I was under. And then I backed out of it. But whatever. Like I said, I made videos on being disfellowshipped. Technically faded away, but it's still the same thing as being disfellowshipped. And there's some things I'm going to remember being part of being a Jehovah's Witness, and then there's some things I'm not going to be able to remember. But, like I said, I like talking about this to people on camera because it's my way of coping. It's therapeutic, and it helps people, to those who have little to no knowledge, how dangerous they are, how they don't realize how passive-aggressive they are. They'll attack their own ex-members because that's how they're trained to act. Like I've said before, they think they're doing the right thing, but they're really not. Because they go and attack their ex-followers. I'll leave an example. Like Telltale talked about. I think it was Telltale. I watched a Mormon video last night, and just like Jehovah's Witnesses, with the whole anti-gay propaganda they tried to put out on video, obviously, with the Caleb and Sophia anti-gay propaganda, they got so much backlash for it. And then after that, after the backlash they've gotten, they decided to disable their like and dislike and comments on any video they ever put out, which is really hypocritical, but that's a whole different thing. They're hypocritical to a lot of things, but that's a completely different thing. Like I said, just like Mormonism, they disable their like and dislikes and comments. Now, for us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons out there, we leave that stuff open because we're speaking the truth. We're honest about the negative experience that we had growing up in that religious cult that we were once a part of. So we have no guilt and manipulation into disabling the likes and dislikes in the comments. But whatever. It's unfortunate, like I said, that people who have little to no knowledge about Jehovah's Witnesses don't see the damage they do to their own friends and family. Like I said, an individual or two Jehovah's Witnesses will go to their door, whoever it may be, to an individual, and when one does show interest, it's because they got them at a vulnerable state while playing the victim, and again, they have little to no knowledge of how they operate. So like I said, if you're an individual watching this that has little to no knowledge about them, again, watch ex-Jehovah's Witness videos, and then you can watch Jehovah's Witness videos. Look at the difference. Why do we have likes and dislikes on and comments open for free of expression? And another thing that's a little different compared to Mormonism is, pretty much the same thing. I was never aware of Mormonism until recently. I was aware, but I never really learned that much about Mormonism until recently. Anyway, sorry about that. But the only similar thing, I guess, compared to from Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormonism is they don't have feelings. At least Jehovah's Witnesses don't show more feelings in the congregation, the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, than compared to Mormonism. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm learning a lot more about Mormonism than I did when I was born and raised in Jehovah's Witness. Like I said, the only thing I guess that's similar, but not nearly as much, is also emotions. Like I said, Jehovah's Witnesses say they show unconditional love because the individual they're interacting with has like little to no knowledge about them. And that's their way of playing the victim to the individual they're talking to. So like I said, if you're an individual with little to no knowledge about Jehovah's Witnesses, watch our videos where we can freely express our feelings on camera about the Jehovah's Witnesses. And another thing about Jehovah's Witnesses, like I said in my previous videos, they are really passive-aggressive to their ex-followers because that's what they're trained to do. They're trained to act passive-aggressive, basically toward anybody that isn't a Jehovah's Witness. And they do it essentially to us. Like I said, when someone who, like myself, left, they want to act like they're right and we were wrong if we ever self-doubted ourselves and wanted to go back, which some of them wind up doing because they want to be able to talk to their friends and family again. That isn't unconditional love at all. That's hate. But that's how Jehovah's Witnesses work. And that's how I cope with my feelings is, like I said again before, I like being able to talk on camera. So anyway, if you've gotten this far to the end of my video, leave a like, save this to your favorites, hit that red subscribe button down below, share this channel around with your friends and family on social media, get them to see how Jehovah's Witnesses really are, how they like to guilt trip and manipulate their followers and even ex-members such as myself. Leave a comment letting me know what you think. And I know, like I said, I have a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witness friends who show their true love and support. Again, I thank you for that. Like I said, share this around with your friends and family on social media so they get the idea, so it can help more people understand how damaging the Jehovah's Witnesses really are. So, with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.